If you are not watching the Yellowstone prequel 1923 every Sunday, I don't know what you are up to. The long-awaited second season of the hit series is likely to be the best that Yellowstone franchise has presented so far. And personally, I cannot get enough of it. The only thing that keeps me excited for life is knowing that the upcoming episode will be the best one in the series as of yet. But first, we need to talk about what happened in the second episode of 1923 Season 2, so that we can understand the upcoming events of Episode 3 better. First and foremost, to no one's surprise, Donald Whitfield continues to prove he has ice in his veins, and honestly, it terrifies me. When he and Banner Creighton find out that Banner's entire flock of sheep has died from disease, which is the very sheep that started his war with the Duttons, Whitfield laughs. He laughs and says, "All it took was a worm to destroy everything you fought for." Well, he is smug as ever, before telling Banner that mining for gold is the real way to secure a future. But then something unexpected happens. Whitfield spots Norwegian miners skiing down the mountainside and suddenly demands to be taken to them. Once they reach the workers, he's fascinated. He orders, "Skiing. Explain it." And as the man describes the sport, Whitfield's mind is already spinning with dollar signs. He says, "The one thing you cannot buy in a store is the euphoria of peril, the exhilaration of danger," he tells Banner. "I can sell that for a fortune." Banner, for once, seems rattled. Later, he admits to Clyde that Whitfield's ability to read and manipulate human nature scares him to death. Honestly, same. Meanwhile, Jake and Sheriff McDowell go to see the judge in charge of Alice's case. This judge isn't just biased, he's disgustingly racist, referring to Zane and Alice's children as mongrels, and insisting Alice is guilty of miscegenation. Jake tries reasoning with him, suggesting that Zane and his family could live on the Dutton Ranch instead of being imprisoned, but the judge won't budge unless Alice gives up the name of the priest who married her and Zane. That's when Jake decides he's done playing nice. He leans in, close enough to smell the liquor in the judge's coffee cup, and makes it clear this is as far as he's willing to be pushed. The sheriff backs him up with the very real threat of arrest. Prohibition is still in effect, after all. That's all it takes. The judge begrudgingly signs the family over to Jake's care, but the real trouble is just beginning. Unfortunately, though, Zane is in bad shape. The injuries he suffered while trying to protect his family have left him unable to stand for more than a minute. I don't know about you guys, but the way he describes it, the feeling of a knife in his brain, makes me think it's something neurological, and that's not something easily healed. They try to get him and his family back to the ranch, but a blizzard hits hard. The wagon flips, forcing them to huddle under its cover, and Jake and his men set the horses loose in a desperate attempt to save them. It is underwhelming to call it brutal at this point. Meanwhile, outbeloved Tiana and Pete finally make it back to camp, glowing from their reunion. But the happiness doesn't last long. Run's his horse is disturbed to learn that the land they're on is no longer a reservation. He leaves to track down the new owner and warns them to stay hidden. Meanwhile, Father Renault and the Marshals arrive in Oklahoma, only to be met with an unexpected surprise, which is the fact that the local U.S. Marshal, Mamie Fawcett, is a woman. She doesn't let that slow her down, though. She agrees to put out wanted posters for Tiana, but warns the men to be careful in Comanche Nation territory. One of the Marshals, of course, laughs it off, which is a huge mistake. That night, as they make camp, they're attacked by a band of Native Americans. One Marshal is killed instantly, and in the chaos, the other hands Renault a gun and tells him when to fire. The priest hesitates, but in the end, he kills to survive. When the fight is over, Renault looks shaken, horrified by what he's done. But Marshal Kent reassures him, saying he'll still get into heaven if he just asks for forgiveness. Then, without hesitation, Kent shoots a wounded Native man in the head. At that point, I felt like I was watching a scene from 1883, because things got that violent, which is as violent as things get in this universe. Meanwhile, Spencer and Luca make it to Galveston, Texas, where Luca's cousin Maceo welcomes them with open arms. Spencer immediately senses something's off when he sees the stockpile of contraband liquor in Maceo's establishment. It doesn't take long to confirm. Maceo is in the mob. When Spencer tries to leave, a business associate flashes a gun and warns him that refusing Maceo's hospitality is an insult. Spencer, being Spencer, knocks the guy out, steals his bullets, and tries to leave anyway. But more henchmen show up and they beat him down. One of them says, "You're lucky he wants you alive." Maceo has a job for Spencer. He gives him a truck, a map, some bribe money, and a gun. His mission is to get the whiskey to Fort Worth. If he does, the truck is his to help him get home faster. It's a dangerous deal, but Spencer has little choice. Back at sea, Alex is facing her own nightmare. A storm rocks the ship, tossing passengers like ragdolls and sending water spraying through the portholes. As the chaos unfolds, Alex clings on for dear life, narrating her thoughts in her journal, which is her only comfort. She says in the letter, "It is my only thought, my only desire. Your eyes upon me, your arms around me, and our bodies pressed together as if they are one. I swear, if these two don't reunite soon, I'm going to lose my mind. And then, the episode ends on a terrifying note. In the middle of the night, a scream echoes through the house. Kara grabs a gun and races downstairs, only to find snow drifting in from an open door. Then she sees it as the wolf, tearing into Dr. Miller's nurse. It turns, locking eyes with Kara, and then lunges. A gunshot rings out. Kara screams, and the screen goes black. In the upcoming episode, we will see Elizabeth saving Kara from the wolf. However, as she tries to save her, she will end up getting wounded. No, she won't die. But she will face death, that's for sure. Contrary to our expectations though, this will lead her to realize that Kara needs her as much as she needs Kara, which will lead her to stay in the ranch despite everything. Meanwhile, Spencer's telegraph will reach Montana, giving hope to the Duttons while scaring the shit out of Donald and Banner. Tiana, on the other hand, will find herself in the 4-6's ranch, under the protection of the founders of the ranch, as the priest starts a state-long search for her. Alexandra will get kidnapped by a man who is after her money and jewelry, and will face losing her baby. I mean, if episode 3 wouldn't be the best of the season, my jaw would end up in the floor. That's how much I'm going to say. For more weekly updates in 1923 Season 2, make sure to like and follow. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.